Name, image, and likeness, or NIL, has been a game changer for a lot of college and high school athletes. But there's a lot of misinformation out there. Whether you're an athlete who is trying to get started with NIL or a parent who wants to be their child's top advocate, we're going to be busting the biggest NIL myths and uncovering the truth that every athlete and parent should know. Myth number one that we'll be getting into is all college athletes are making millions. Have you heard people online talking, saying, oh, these athletes are making millions? Do you really believe that? Me either. Me either. That could be furthest from the truth, okay? The truth is, while it's really easy to focus on the D1 athletes that are in the headlines, there's a very small fraction of college athletes that are really making a lot of money in the NIL industry. Here are the facts. Collectives account for about 80% of all NIL money. And of course, that largely funds football and men's basketball. So guess what? That leaves the rest to brand deals and other mechanisms in which college and high school athletes make money. And guess what? Did you know that most NIL deals are worth less than $100? $100. And understand, many athletes don't know this. They don't know how to get started. And they even feel like they can't balance it all with their responsibilities as an athlete. But here's the good news. You don't have to make millions to benefit from your NIL. It's about putting things into the right perspective and having the right mindset before you even get started. And NIL has opened so many doors, not just for brand deals. There are many athletes that are creating their own products and services. They're engaging in speaking events. They are hosting camps. They're doing a lot of different things rather than just doing brand deals. And I don't want athletes to think that NIL is about obtaining millions. And you may be able to do that, but what if you don't? It's all about perspective. Even small deals can provide you opportunities to build your brand, gain experience, and set yourself up for long-term success. But it's really about having the right mindset and the right perspective when you're getting into it. It really starts with understanding your value and knowing what first steps to make. If you're unsure of what the first step is to take, I highly recommend you take my athlete NIL and brand assessment. This assessment is designed for high school and college athletes and their parents to take to see where they stand as far as the NIL and personal branding game. Think of it as a quick checkup to see how prepared you are to secure opportunities, build your brand, and make the most of your NIL. It's quick, it's easy, and it'll get you moving in the right direction. Check the link in the description box to take the assessment. Now, back to the video. Myth number 2, men are making the most money from NIL. It's often said that men dominate earnings, but is that really true? While it's true that football and men's basketball is making significant money from collectives, women's athletics, specifically women's basketball and gymnastics, are really dominating when it comes to brand deals. Women athletes are attracting huge fan bases and securing meaningful partnerships. Their influence is undeniable, proving that NIL success is not just for men's sports. Look at Caitlin Clark, Angel Reese, Flau'jae Johnson, Sedona Prince, Livy Dunn, Paige Beckers. And that's just the big athletes, the big names. There are female athletes out here that are really killing it. And let's talk about the rising of other women's sports. Women's volleyball has seen a huge increase in viewership in their fan base. And their NIL compensation has been increasing since the inception in 2021. Let's look at the University of Nebraska. They hosted a volleyball match back in 2023 at Memorial Stadium in front of over 92,000 people, which set a record for the largest crowd for a women's sporting events in the United States as well as in the world. And it's also projected that women's live sports audience will increase from 4.1 million to 5.2 million by 2027. And if you think that brands don't want to capitalize on that, you're not really thinking. And I found that more women, after they've transitioned out of college sports, have been able to make the most out of their brand success even when they are not playing professionally, such as the Cavender twins. They've been able to really capitalize on their NIL after leaving the University of Miami, even though they did end up transitioning back into college sports. During that small time that they were no longer playing college basketball, they were really able to do a lot of big things, create their own company, partner with a company to basically create their own media company. So I think that a lot of women have been able to really dig in when it comes to NIL and build that big brand base that makes it so much easier for them to continue on with their success after they transition out of college sports. So I'm going to encourage you, don't let outdated assumptions limit your view on your potential for NIL opportunities. Whether you're a parent of a male or a female athlete, the key is understanding where their strengths lie and leverage them effectively to attract brand opportunities. Myth number 3. You need a large social media following to get brand deals. And honestly, I'm going to add to this. I'm going to add the myth of that you need to be playing a popular sport or you need to be a popular player in that sport to get NIL deals. A lot of people think that you need hundreds of thousands of followers to get NIL deals, and that is just not the truth. And I know that what the media puts out, they put out the athletes who play at the big schools and they play in the popular sports and they have the huge following, and you think that like those are the only athletes that are getting NIL deals, but that's really not the case whatsoever. Athletes at all levels are getting NIL opportunities. Heck, even non-athletes are getting NIL deals, such as cheerleaders, we've seen coaches, and even most recently, student managers. For example, McNeese State's men's basketball student manager Amir Khan secured over $100,000 worth of NIL deals this past NCAA tournament. And it all started with a viral video that he did with the team back in February. Being his authentic self helped him land huge deals with some of the brands we know and love, such as Buffalo Wild Wings, TurboTax, Insomnia Cookies, Fortnite, and he even got his own trading card with Topps. And guess what? The producer of the hit series Yellowstone even reached out to him to see if they can get him on the series. How cool is that? So how was he able to get these deals? He leaned into his role as a student manager and started creating these authentic game day rituals with the team and then started posting them. And brands aren't just looking at numbers. They're actually more concerned with your audience's engagement and reach. Many brands are working with athletes who have small audience, whether they're considered micro-influencers, which means they have between 10,000 and 100,000 followers, or they're nano-influencers if they have less than 10,000 followers. They're engaging with athletes with these small audiences because they found that they were more engaged, more active, and connected to the athlete. This is why knowing your brand, knowing what your values are, your interests are, what your personality is going to be super important. And guess what? You don't need a huge following to even know all that stuff. You actually need to know that stuff before you build a huge audience. And having a massive following doesn't mean you have influence. What matters most is how you connect with your audience and whether they trust you enough to take action. Having an engaged couple of thousand followers is much better than having a million who don't connect or even engage with you or your content. So my advice is you should be focusing on having an engaged and authentic community. Even with a smaller following, you can connect with brands that value quality over quantity. It's about showcasing your unique story and personality. Creating curated content that gets your audience to do something is what brands really want. And make sure you're responding to comments and actually interacting with your audience. After you post content, make sure you go back and see what everyone is saying. And those actual real-time comments can actually make you go viral, because when more people are engaging with your content, it tends to signal the algorithm to show it to more people organically. And remember, you don't have to be an influencer. You just have to build trust. So those are the biggest myths that are stopping athletes from gaining NIL success. But before you start chasing those NIL deals, we want to make sure you're ready. Take my athlete NIL and brand assessment to see where you really stand with NIL and branding. The link is in the description box. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please make sure to like and subscribe, and I'll see you next time.